Good Tuesday morning, everybody. It's me, Kenny Polker, your host of the party. And today is Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. And what is it that you need to know today, right? Earnings continue to drive the conversation. Investors appear very comfortable. But let's talk about it, right? Because they do continue to surprise on the upside. So that is causing investors to be pleased. Oil, another one, continues to surge. But $200 a barrel? Not likely anytime soon. 10-year treasuries yielding 1.58%, and that's helping stocks to stabilize. And the Bitcoin ETF is actually starting to trade today on New York Stock Exchange ARCA under the symbol BITO. And what are we having for dinner tonight? A pan-seared, oven-roasted veal chop that I made on Saturday night. Pictures are on Twitter. Okay, so stocks began the day yesterday weaker, fought all day to stabilize as excitement about the earnings season details how companies are dealing with rising inflationary pressures, supply chain issues, and consumer demand. As expected, the season has gotten off to a great start, though, with better than 90% of reports beating estimates, and no one showing any signs of stress yet. 10-year yields backed off a bit, ending the day yielding 1.58%. The VIX settles down. The S&P rose 15 points. The Dow, by contrast, fell 36 points. Nasdaq gained 125. Russell's up 2, and the transports added 92 points. Oil, which was on another tear higher in the morning, ended the day only up 5 cents at $82.32 a barrel, after teasing as high as $83.86. Talk of $200 oil by this time next year was all the rage yesterday, especially after the Wall Street Journal article over the weekend defined how it could happen and how options traders are making longer-term bets on the price of oil. And that was part of the reason that we saw oil move higher. But let's be honest, oil isn't going to $200 a barrel. I would imagine that after it hits 100, that even more U.S. rigs are going to come online. I mean, last week we added 10 more rigs, and now the total rig count in the U.S. is 543 operating. And as oil goes higher, expect more rigs to come online. This morning, oil's up another 1.3%, trading at $83.55 a barrel. Baker Hughes told us that rig counts are increasing every week, and this corresponds directly with the price of oil. Isn't that interesting? See how that works? Prices go up and more rigs get added, and then more supply gets produced. And when rigs do come online, then you have to assume that supply is going to increase. And that should stop or at least slow the push higher, unless Joey comes down hard on the industry again, forcing more supply issues, and then maybe $200 a barrel is reality. But for now, let's not overthink this. My gut says not happening. Nor do I see $200 a barrel oil even by this time next year. I just don't see it. Maybe I'm blind, but we'll see. Sector performance yesterday had utilities, the XLU down 1%, healthcare was down 0.7%, and consumer staples, XLP, down 0.6%, while consumer discretionary, XLY, rose by 1.2%. The retail XRT gained 2%. Techs and communications were up 0.8%. The value trade fell by 0.3%, while the growth trade gained 0.9%. All as investors are kind of assessing the new environment. We had 3 earnings reports and all 3 beat. That's 100%. While the economic data disappointed, industrial production fell by 1.3% versus the expected gain of 0.1%. This also is China reported disappointing industrial production numbers on Sunday. Capacity utilization fell to 75.2 versus 76.4. And you can look at this 2 ways. You can say you're disappointed, but understand something. Capacity utilization speaks directly to inflationary pressures. Yesterday I told you that if the reading advances into the 80s, then that begins to suggest we're nearing full capacity, and that suggests pressure on prices, so think inflation. So the fact that it fell is actually a good thing, right? Because it takes the pressure off. And then guess who came back to work? Petey Buttigieg, Transportation Secretary. This after taking 3 months off from paternity leave after only being in the job for 2 months, in the middle of a transportation crisis in the country. But hey, he and his partner did adopt a baby, and everybody's entitled to 3 months worth of paternity leave, aren't they? I mean, he told CNN's Jakey Tapper over the weekend that the massive amount of cargo ships lining the whole coast of California is a testament to President Biden, who rescued us from a terrifying recession. Terrifying? Really? Who was terrified, Petey? Tell me, come on. When Joey took office, we had 6.5% GDP growth. What's terrifying about that? Unless he thought it was negative 6.5%, but could he be that out of touch? Meanwhile, all the cargo ships represent products that consumers bought or want to buy, and that's a bullish argument and speaks directly to the job that this administration is doing. So says Petey. Do we really want to go with that argument? In any event, it is what it is. So let's just move on. Today is a new day, and there are more earnings reports out today. Signature Bank, SBNY already reporting, and guess what? They beat. I mean, it's just comical almost, right? But they've lowered estimates. Everyone's lowered estimates, so it's a low bar. This morning before the bell, you're going to hear from Fifth Third, Johnson & Johnson, Bank of New York, Silvergate Capital, Halliburton, Procter & Gamble, all due out, right? We're going to get Netflix right at the stroke of 4 p.m., and you can feel the excitement building. What will they say, if anything, about the latest blockbuster, a South Korean thriller called Squid Games? It's a human survival drama series that hit the airwaves only 3 weeks ago and has rocked the human psyche. It's really a messed up show. It's disturbing, really, but hey, what do I know? It's become the latest blockbuster for the network. Ecodata includes housing starts of 1.6 million, or down 0.2%, building permits of 1.7 million, or down 2.4%. Yesterday, Asian and European markets began the day, they were all lower. U.S. futures were lower in the pre-market. Today, Asian markets ended the day higher, tech leading the way higher. The Reserve Bank of Australia reported that they expect their economy to come back online this quarter and then return to the pre-COVID levels by this time next year. Japan added 0.6%, Hong Kong up 1.5%, China up 1%, Australia was flat, South Korea up 0.7%, and Taiwan was up 1.2%. European markets are trading just around the flat line this morning, right? There's no eco data there that's going to drive the market, so the focus is squarely on earnings. At 6:15, the FTSE CAC 40 and DAX are all flat. Eurostock is up 0.2%, Spain is up 0.7%, and Italy is up 0.25%. U.S. futures are up again this morning. Dow futures up 100 points. S&P's up 16. The Nasdaq's ahead by 40. The Russell's up 11. Investors apparently like what they're hearing. Robust earnings are stealing the spotlight over the prospect of tightening monetary policy. We will hear from a few Fed heads this week, and so it's going to be interesting to see what they have to say. And then on Friday, Jay Powell's going to take part in a policy panel discussion that is sure to get lots of commentary and analysis as people try to listen for what he says and read between the lines. Earnings will continue to be in the spotlight, right? Investors are assessing the impact of supply chain shortages, rising input prices, and higher wages on company margins. Remember, it's all about pricing power and forward guidance. Who has it and who doesn't? And so that's what you're going to find out. Bitcoin this morning is trading at 62,000. Ethereum is trading at 3,800. This is ProShares is set to launch the first Bitcoin futures ETF today. I thought it was yesterday. My bad. The symbol is BITO, and you can expect all kinds of excitement over this ETF today, right? So ProShares apparently has pulled out of the race. Not ProShares, Invesco. ProShares is the one who's launching this today. The S&P ended the day at 4486, just 2 points off the daily high and 70 points below the yearly high. If earnings continue to surprise and the eco data remains in line, then there isn't a new variant of COVID to infect the world, then it feels like investors are comfortable. Remember, we still have the Fed meeting on November 2nd and 3rd, where it's now expected that Jay's going to announce the start of tapering as soon as mid-November. And while this has been well telegraphed, we're not going to really know how investors are going to react until they react. So sit tight. We're now back in the 44.40, 45.50 trading range. So just watch as we see 44.40 will be a key level because it now represents support. Remember, you can text the word invest to 21,000 on your cell phone. You're going to get my digital business card delivered right to your phone. Feel free to download it, send me off an email or text, call me. I'm always happy to chat. Talk about markets, planning, thoughts, concerns, ideas, anything that's on your mind, right? And you can also follow me on Twitter and TikTok at Kenny Polcari is my handle, and on my Instagram, which is at KennyP1961. Okay, so this was a great dish. I'm serving up pan-seared, oven-roasted veal chop. I made this on Saturday. The pictures are going to be on Twitter just underneath this video when I post it, so you make sure to watch it, right? It's not a difficult dish to make, and it is really good. And if you're having company, it presents well, it looks beautiful, your company thinks you went way out of your way. I served this, though, on Saturday night with a side of lemon cream linguine. Oh, my God. Yum. It was so delicious. Okay, so for this, you're going to need a thick-cut veal chop on the bone. You need butter, shallots, leeks, beef stock, salt and pepper, olive oil, and a little bit of fresh thyme. You want to start by preheating your oven to 500 degrees. Just get it ready so it's nice and hot. This is important because when you want the oven to be ready to receive the chops once you have pan-seared them, okay? Because then they need to roast in this high oven. So make sure you put your oven on, just let it stay there. Remove the chops from the fridge, let them come up to room temperature, rinse them, pat them dry with a paper towel, season them with salt and pepper on both sides, and then just set them aside. Let them sit there. Prepare the leeks. Right? You want to wash and rinse very thoroughly because leeks grow in sandy soil, right? And as a result, the sand gets trapped in the stalk. So you want to trim the bottom, trim the white edge, the white part of the bottom, not the whole white part, just the edge, right, where the roots come out, and then cut the stalk in half lengthwise, and then rinse them, and then peel, chop them, and then you want to peel and chop the shallots as well. I use 2 shallots. Next, in a heavy bottom pan, you want to heat about a quarter stick of butter. And a splash of olive oil. Put it on medium low, right? Very important. You don't want the butter to burn. Add the leeks in the shallot. Cook on this low heat for about 15 minutes, right? This is called sweating because you want the heat on low, right? You don't want really any color. You just want them to get soft and translucent. Now you're going to add about a half a cup or so of beef stock. Turn the heat up to medium. Simmer for just about 5 minutes. Then cover, turn off the heat, and set it aside. The mixture should not be liquidy. It should be like moist and thick, right? It shouldn't be like soupy. It should be thick. In an oven-proof grill pan, add a dollop of butter and a splash of olive oil. Heat the pan on high until you see the butter and oil start to glisten. Add the seasoned veal chops. Brown on both sides, maybe 3 or 4 minutes per side. Let them get nice brown and caramelized. Now, take the whole pan and put it in the oven. Continue cooking for 8 to 10 minutes at that 500 degree temperature, depending on how you like your chop, right? No more than 10 degrees, I would imagine. Next, you want to go back to your leeks. You want to add a little bit of fresh thyme to the shallots and leeks, put them on the low heat, bring them back up to heat. For the presentation, you want to spoon out the leeks on the bottom of the plate and make it like a bed, and then take the veal chop and place it right on top of the leeks. You can serve this up with a favorite green vegetable, asparagus or broccolini, and a large mixed salad. Like I told you, I served it up with a side of linguine and a lemon cream pasta. Oh my God, it was delicious. Just because I felt like doing something different, right? So I didn't want to do broccoli. I didn't want to do asparagus. It's good to do it that way. I just felt like pasta on Saturday night, so I whipped up the lemon cream pasta. In any event, look, it's still dark outside. The sun is about to come up. The day is about to get started. I'm on my way up to Orlando this afternoon to participate in a conference tomorrow, a Portfolio Summit RIA conference tomorrow, and then I'll be back to our night. So I will see you in the morning. I will be on Mornings with Maria, Fox Business at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So be sure to tune in. Until then, take good care.